Hey friends, welcome back to Prepping with Sarge. Today we're going to do a little video response to my friend Steve from Corsair Trainers. Now I will link the video that I'm talking about down in the description. Please go ahead and check that out. I'm not going to repeat word for word everything that he talked about in there. It's a really solid video. Definitely check it out. While you're over there, subscribe. Tell him Prepping with Sarge sent you. But anyways, the video is about bugging out, and I thought what I really liked about this one is that he talks about what a realistic bugging out situation looks like. What do I mean by that? Well, we all, in the prepping community, we all love the movie Red Dawn. It's fun, it's fantastic, but the idea of like bugging out to the woods or the mountains or some cave somewhere, for most people is really not realistic. And the only time you would really do that is in the most extreme situations, like there was some kind of war within the United States and your city became overrun, something like that, right? And it's just most other situations that are gonna require a bug out are not going to be where you strap on your bug out bag and hike out to the Appalachian Mountains and go live off the land, right? It's a fun fantasy. I definitely think you should make a bug out bag. It's a fun project, but to get realistic, what does a bug out normally look like, right? So here in the United States, we're very privileged in that we still have really good infrastructure. And when you need to bug out, you're going to probably, in many cases, be able to return to your area. So a couple points I want to hit on here is there's this thing that I see sometimes come up in the forums and Reddit and Facebook groups, things like that, where people will say, well, I'm not going to bug out. Okay. Let's touch on this one first. There are situations where you may have to bug out or you're going to die. Okay, what do I mean by that? Well, watch some of the videos of forest fires, especially on the West Coast. Watch some of the news footage about chemical spills. You cannot stay on your property in those situations. And by the way, yes, if you're looking at the traffic, yes, I'm on the highway, and yes, I'm going the speed limit. People are just flying, so that's why we're not in the high speed lane right now. So chemical spills, wildfires, your property could be rendered unsafe by storms, tornadoes, things like that. Sometimes I live on the East Coast. Sometimes we have Category 4 and 5 hurricanes. If you live close to the water like we do, it's not safe to stay there, so you have to be mindful of those situations. So if you choose to say, I'm never bugging out, I'm going to stand my ground, that's fine. I totally respect your decision. You just need to know that there are situations where that might mean death for you. If that's your choice, that's fine. I respect your right to choose that. But if your idea is that you're not thinking of those situations, then I would just ask you to think about them, right? And that there are situations. You may have a great setup on your homestead. You may grow your own food. You may hunt. You may have a fishing area where you can go to. You may have area where you can forage, right? But there's still that possibility that your area is going to be rendered unsafe, right? So if you still understand that and you choose that, okay, fine. Now let's go on to the next point. What does it really look like for most people? So unless you have the Red Dawn scenario, most of the time your bug out is going to be to a hotel or to a family member's house or to a friend's house, or maybe you have a second property that's your bug out location. That's what it's normally going to look like, right? So your backpack full of hunting gear and fishing gear and I don't know, shelter making kit, fire starting kit, all that may be not even useful in those situations, right? Am I saying throw those away? No. You make a bug out bag for a reason, but maybe we need to think about that there's another type of bag, and we can call this whatever you want. You can call this an evacuation bag, okay? The Urban Prepper, Cliff the Urban Prepper, talked about it as a get out bag or getaway bag or something like that. I can't remember the exact terminology he used. So that's going to look different. That's going to include your money, your important medications, that life-saving medications, some hygiene, some important papers, your identification, things like that, your insurance information, especially if talking about areas where things where your property might be damaged. Your what else is going to include there? Maybe information about family members and things like that, pictures of family members if you're separated, and change of clothes, and maybe some of your valuables, right? If you've got silver and gold and things like that. And maybe you want to bring your information about like any stocks that you hold and like your account numbers, things like that, your bank account numbers, all that stuff, birth certificate, social security information, right? That's the kind of stuff that the evacuation kit might look like. And as Steve says in his video, most of the time you're going to be able to use a vehicle to get out of Dodge there, okay? Just different concepts to think about. This is it's interestingly enough, this is all scenarios that are much more likely than your Red Dawn fantasy, and yet we, the prepping community, don't really talk about this that much. So I hope that gets, as Steve says, the thinky think going for you. I hope you got something of value out of this one. Go ahead and drop a like if you did. But more importantly, go check out Steve's video. It's really good. I thought there's some really good information in there that should get you thinking about how bugging out looks different than what the typical prepper fantasy says it's going to be, right? Not to say that you don't do those things too, because as preppers we try to cover all of our bases, but one of the things I talk about on my channel is we often talk about the most extreme situations and we neglect the most likely situations, right? That's what I'm saying here today. This is my video response to Steve Corsair Trainers. Check out his channel, check out that video. And for me, for my audience, keep planting your seeds, keep stacking your silver. This is Prepping with Sarge.